And we are live, if youtube.com is to be believed. Hi, YouTube.
What's going on, guys? Happy Friday.
And YouTube might not always be believed. I don't know. We'll see.
It's on the internet. Of course it is.
Yeah.
It's on the internet. You can believe everything you see on YouTube.
It must be true. If it's on the internet, it must be true. Hi, everybody.
That's what I live my life by.
Yeah. It served me well. Hey, Sam's here. Sam says, don't trust YouTube. Dude, Sam.
Dude. Damn.
Yeah. We were just talking about that.
Yeah.
Saw your Twitter post, dude. That's awful. Oh my gosh.
I would legit buy you one right now if I could. I'm sorry that happened to you, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and like he was saying too, like the unfortunate thing is whoever swiped it,
it's gonna make a lot of money.
1000% just threw it up on eBay. Yeah. So that's really unfortunate, man. Sorry that happened.
Well, let's not talk about it too much and remind him of it.
Yeah. Let's just sit here and dwell on it for like the next hour. I think Sam would be all right with that, right? Well, we've got a good show, folks. Anybody who's tuning in for the first time, perhaps, this is the first segments of our show that we record here live. We basically are going to talk about what we've been playing, what we've been up to over the past week, and we're going to break down the week in Nintendo news. But it is, of course, just one of many segments of the show. Sam says it's all right. What's more time to wait? That's fair. Got nothing but time. We got
to be young and believe that again.
we have many more segments, but a little taste of the full show. We have many more segments that we do in the full podcast that goes live tomorrow. Yeah, little salt base sprinkling. Yeah, yeah, of podcastery here. And the full episode that goes live on your podcast feeds tomorrow. There's going to be a top 5 wintry Nintendo games. There's going to be an indie showcase on Wavetail, which just came out this past week. And there's going to be a retrospective on The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. So this is but a taste of tomorrow's full episode that you will find on your podcast feeds. Links to that are always down below in the video description if you're watching the VOD or if you're here live on YouTube. Also, before we get started, hey, like the stream. Subscribe to us here on YouTube if you haven't already. That's super, super appreciated as well.
Yeah, what he said.
What he said. Yeah.
What he said.
What he said. But yeah. If you're ready, man. Think we should roll this intro?
Dude, toothpaste and pomegranate vitamin water taste weird.
Yeah, no, never. Not even once. It's like that toothpaste and orange juice thing. Not even once. Oh no.
Oh, that's a way to start the show. But let's get it going, guys.
Let's do the intro. We'll see you all on the other side. Your boy Seth here with my wonderful co-host Eric, bringing another episode of All In Nintendo Podcast, the weekly Nintendo variety show.
Boy.
Yeah, also your boy. We're both your boys. Here, bringing another episode of All In Nintendo Podcast, the weekly Nintendo variety show, where no shell's left unturned and no point is left unearned. Happy and thankful to be bringing you another episode of this podcast, man. We've been staying really busy. We've been on our grind, especially here leading up to the Golden Aces. And look, guys, again, I'm not going to shut up about the Golden Aces. You're going to get so sick of hearing me talk about it, but it's happening right here on youtube.com/allinpodcast live on Wednesday, January 4th at this time that we're live right now, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, and it's going to be a can't miss show in the new year. Great way to kick off the new year with some exciting announcements from us as well. To kick it off. That's a stream you're not going to want to miss. We're doing that live on YouTube, just like we're live on YouTube right now. So hi, shout outs to everybody watching us on YouTube. Sam.
If it's your first time, welcome.
Yeah, if it's your first time, welcome. And Sam, our buddy Third Strongest Mole's in here saying, psh, Goaty 30 is where the real party is at. Sam, of course, the host of, or one of the hosts of the Retro Logic podcast, where they did their own Game of the Year episode. So I look forward to that.
Everybody's from 1992.
That's right. Everybody's doing their Game of the Year stuff, but we wait for the whole year to play out. They waited for the whole 30 years to play out before they did theirs. So they really did leave no stone unturned.
Hindsight is 30/30.
Yeah, hindsight is always 30/30. But speaking of Sam is one of our wonderful patrons at patreon.com/allinpodcast. So we would love to thank Sam and the other amazing people that support us over there and make the dreams come true. Our Golden Banana Bunch and our Triforce tier patrons. So let's start off with the Golden Banana Bunch, as we like to do here at the beginning of the show. Starting with our good friend Dan Caparello, also of the Retro Logic podcast, Rob Yapel, Sam, third strongest mole, as we just mentioned, Sean.
He's my Game of the Year 30.
Yeah, that's right. Sean, Shano Baggins Ashton, Tim A, aka Neoprime 33, aka Nintendo Dad number 4, Matt, Shy Guy City Murray, Drew Agnew, the handsome host of the Handsome Mario podcast, I guess, the House of
Drew,
Mario podcast.
You got a new name for your show, Drew.
Yeah, just go ahead and change it. Why not? You've been doing it for so long.
The Handsome Mario podcast.
That's right.
That is actually a good name.
He should do it. He's a handsome dude. Phelan Ward, the also handsome host of the Damage Counter Pokemon Trading Card Game podcast.
Good luck, Phelan.
Tucker, yeah, hey Phelan. And he's doing I think a tournament this weekend. So yeah, good luck to Phelan. Bill Tucker, the host of A Gamer Looks at 40, great friend and supporter of this show. Check out A Gamer Looks at 40. And another great personal friend of mine, Marcus O'Neill, who I'm going to be hanging out with tomorrow morning in the Backtrackers in the Carpool Gaming community. We'd love to see you guys over there at some point. But let's move on to our Triforce tier supporters. Starting with Josh Vaughn, longtime friend and supporter and godfather of Tingle Love Tuesday. At least somebody loves Tingle over here. I love Tingle. You got a Tingle lover in me, my friend. John Cummins, the third and final co-host of the Retro Logic podcast and host of On Topic Retro, the globe-trotting, jet-setting Nintendo Hub and Sparky over at the Nintendo Hub here on YouTube. We love you, Sparky. Adam Caparello, aka OctoRock1982, has got his own YouTube channel here, OctoRock1982, as well as the co-host of the Retro Groove podcast, who just released a new episode that I am so excited about. They're breaking down the music of A Muppet Christmas Carol. And I am really so excited. It just released like right before we went live tonight, and I immediately downloaded it the second it hit my feed. So I'm so excited for that. It's going to be Adam, his co-host Liam, and actually our friend Tim that we just shouted out from the Nintendo Dads.
Nice.
All talking about one of my favorite movies of all time.
Muppet Christmas Carol is the GOAT of Christmas movies.
I mean, it's the GOAT. It's the GOAT. Shy Guy, who is the, one half with Matt Shy Guy City Murray, the other half of the Shy Guy Mod Squad. Actually, normally I shout them out both because they're both at the Golden Banana tier. Shy Guy bumped up. He's in the Triforce tier now. Shy Guy has leveled up. And yeah, he's made it to the Triforce tier, and we super appreciate that. Thank you so much, Shy Guy, for choosing to support us even further than you already were. It means the world to us, especially here, like in the holidays. It's like, I understand how it is. Money can be tight for people in this time of year. So to not only already support us, but then say, hey, I want to support you even more than I already was, it just means more than we can say. But so thanks again, Shy Guy, for that. And then, of course, the legend
drives us
himself. Yeah, it drives us. The legend himself, sir.
That would be
Uncle Randy. Thank you, Uncle Randy. We love you very much, Uncle Randy. Hope you're doing well out there. I haven't talked to Uncle Randy since his birthday. And yeah, I need to say hi to Uncle Randy. I miss Uncle Randy. But thank you all those people that support us on patreon.com/allinpodcast. And again, that's a great way to show monetary support. Throw a couple bones our way and make the dreams come true. Keep the lights on over here at All In HQ. Keep the thermostat running as it were. But there is a free way to support us, and somebody did that just this past week by dropping some words over on Apple Podcasts. Eric, we want to give a huge thanks to J88 Fitness on iTunes, who leaves us a 5-star review and says, an excellent weekly Nintendo podcast filled with news, rankings, and discussion. Eric and Seth have created a great weekly Nintendo podcast and community. They make a multi-hour podcast every week. Don't I know it? They talk about what... Oh yeah, we feel that. They talk about what they're playing, the latest news, do a weekly top 5, and often talk to developers on the podcast. It is definitely a weekly listen for me and comes with my highest recommendation. Give it a listen, and it's the only Nintendo podcast that you will need. There you go. Bravo. Thank you very much for that, J88 Fitness. Shout out to J88 Fitness, who has been making content on YouTube for a little while. I became aware of J88 Fitness a little while ago and watched some of his YouTube videos, and he is like so charming, man. Like, he's got this really charming personality, produces like top 5 videos and things like that on YouTube. So definitely check out his YouTube channel, also J88 Fitness. Thank you very much for your support, my friend. Yeah. But with all that being said, Eric, I do have a couple of other things I wanted to shout out really quickly before I ask you the age-old question of what you've been up to this week. A couple of little matters of housekeeping. So voting for the next episode of Keep Nintendo Weird is closed. It just wrapped up today. Our Golden Banana and Triforce tier patrons had the opportunity to vote on the final KNW of the year. We, of course, just released one with my co-host here. We released one with him on Pushmo, and that was great.
Yeah, we push mode that one out the door.
Yeah, we push mode that one out the door, and that was great, and everybody seems to have enjoyed that. But the next one is going to be the final one of the year.
Of course they did.
Of course they did. Of course they did. And the winner of that vote was Rusty's Real Deal Baseball.
Nice.
So that is going to be happening before the end of the year, and look forward to that. Also, something that's going to be happening tomorrow, if you're watching us live right now, / today, if you're listening to the podcast, / in the past, if you're listening to it later on in the week, I guess, on
at
Saturday.
Some point in the timeline.
At some point in time, we either are streaming or will be streaming a co-op playthrough of It Takes Two here on the YouTube channel. Or did stream. Will happen, happened, you know, that whole thing.
Yes, but let's quit trying to Doctor Who this explanation. This weekend, as this episode is going live, this Saturday and Sunday, my amazing co-host and I are finally getting the chance to play It Takes Two together. One of the games that we are crunching in preparation for this year's Golden Aces. Seth, I am super excited.
I am excited too. I've already played that game through twice. This will be my 3rd time playing, and I'm still excited. Yeah. Like, I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be super fun.
I finally get to find out why you had that reaction during the commercial at the Game Awards.
It was one of my favorite games of last year. So excited that it's finally out on Switch. And
speaking of Game Awards, won the Game Award for Game of the Year last year.
It did. So
and we finally get to play it this weekend.
Yeah, man. Can't wait. But with all that out of the way, sir, what's been going on in your world this week?
Well, we do have one more piece of housekeeping to get to, Seth.
Uh-oh.
I was on something this past week.
You were. That's true.
I was invited on by our wonderful community member, Presto the Magnificent, to be a part of his podcast, Off the Wah. Unfortunately, we were unable to do a retrospective that we really wanted to do last month because of just the multitude of AAA games all releasing basically on top of each other. However, I was incredibly humbled and incredibly happy to accept the invite to Off the Wall to talk about my personal favorite game of all time, the immaculate Super Mario Galaxy. That was a ton of fun. I rapped.
You know what? You rapped, and I was impressed. I was actually impressed. You did a good job with your rap, considering that it was like on the spot. It was a freestyle rap. Pretty good.
Yeah, I was totally on the spot.
It was the best out of the 3 by far. You by far did the best out of the 3. I will say this, and I love Presto. Presto's great. And Off the Wah is, I always say, probably the most unique Nintendo podcast that is out there right now. Like, that is just, nobody could make that show but Presto. He has an entire segment dedicated to berating his community called The Wrong Rankings. Like, it is like so good.
I did dig
Um,
that.
yeah. I will say they
Here's
introduce
why
and
you're incorrect, sir.
yeah, and they do this apparently new segment that they've probably been doing it for a while. I don't get to listen to every episode. Busy guy, presto, leave me alone. Um, but they do this like music masters segment, and I'm listening to
Oh
it,
God. Oh
and
God.
they basically, they each, I think, brought like what, three songs a
Yeah.
piece, and it was like, hey, guess, basically like guess where this song is from. And it was pretty like standard stuff, and I was tracking, and then you brought out your songs. And these, how do we reach these kids? How do we reach these kids? I'm like, they
How do you
didn't
do,
know,
fellow kids?
dude. They
I
didn't
know.
know aquatic ambiance from Donkey Kong Country, which is one of the most iconic video game songs ever composed. I was screaming at them,
He was
like
legit mad.
screaming. The only one I wouldn't have been able to tell you the names of all of the tracks, but I was tracking most of them. And ironically, like the final track that you had in your back pocket was a Mega Man ZX track that
Yep.
I only guessed because I know you. Because I knew that it was a Mega Man track, and I was like, oh, it's probably Mega Man ZX. And sure enough, it was a Mega Man ZX. So, yeah.
Greengrass
Music
Gradation
Masters?
is Greengrass Gradation is also the song that plays during the initial Mega Man ZX transformation.
Yeah.
So it's also kind of the main overworld forest theme, but it also plays during the transformation, and it's beautifully synced with that cutscene. That just
Good
it
song.
really, yeah, that song is one of my favorite tracks in video game history.
But Music Masters and you don't know aquatic ambiance?
Give them.
Surely you jest.
We need
All
to
right?
take them. Take them. Here's the wing. Here's the wing. We're gonna take them and put them right under it. We're gonna take
All
them.
right.
You
Yeah.
especially. You
Yeah.
especially.
Gonna have to have me back on Off the Wall Presto. I'll show you who the real Music Master is, my friend.
Oh, jeez.
But no, it was cool. It was cool. I listened to the episode last night while I'm sitting there playing Tunic, and it was fun. It was a fun, I'm glad you got your dashboard confessional vindicated moment, getting to finally talk about Mario Galaxy. I was happy for you.
Well, give it another 5 years. We'll have the 20th anniversary of it that we can do
Yeah.
a retrospective on.
Maybe we'll
properly
pencil
here
it in then. Maybe we'll
on the
find a
show.
way.
Maybe, dude. It's in November. Everything drops in November.
Yeah.
We're never going to be able to get that.
That
thing.
was the
So,
problem.
that was the
Yeah.
problem. But I didn't just talk about video games. I did play a couple this week, including the one on the TV behind me. Another part of my crunch going into the Golden Aces at the beginning of next year
Yeah,
is a
dude.
little game that you might be familiar with, Seth, called Neon White. Have you heard of it, sir?
I've heard of it. Yeah. It's pretty good. I like it. Pretty good little game.
Yes, a pretty solid indie game of the year candidate from Annapurna Interactive and Donut County developer Ben Esposito. This game genuinely feels like if Mirror's Edge was developed by Suda51,
Yeah, I could see that. I could see where you're coming from there.
but super unique. I really, really like the gameplay setup because there are elements of first-person shooter, there are elements of platforming, elements of puzzle solving. It's a really interesting, really unique mix. It feels at once really fresh and unique, but at the same time so incredibly familiar. And then, of course, you've got the characters who are all kinds of messed up and bonkers in all the best possible ways. I told you this a little bit, Seth. I'm a little ashamed of myself of how much I enjoy Violet.
You
That
didn't need to
probably
say that publicly. You didn't need to say that
Probably-
publicly. You could have kept that to yourself.
probably says a little bit too much about me
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah.
But-
yeah.
But the characters are all great. It's super anime. They're all voice acted incredibly well. The game itself is super tight. I think, sir, we might have to do an indie showcase on that, perchance someday.
So weird because like there are a lot of really really great games that we're both
There
sort
really
of
are.
cramming in and trying to fit in before the Golden Aces, and many games that are like worthy of an indie showcase, and there literally won't be enough weeks between now and then. So we're gonna have to be it's gonna be genuinely really hard to put together the Golden Aces this year.
It's something that I feel like I bring up almost every other week now, but you remember when we first started this show, we were like, do you think there'll be enough good indie games out there to do a weekly indie
Yeah,
showcase?
we were foolish.
Oh, how naive. Oh, how naive. But another game that I was playing this past week, something that I was actually kind of a little bit pseudo excited for, that most people have basically already forgot happened this past week, was the fact that Mario Strikers Battle League got its final free update this past week with the addition of Birdo and
Bowser Jr., right?
Bowser Jr. Yeah, thank you very much. In addition to that, you got the shell armor, you got yet another new arena that you can choose from. So now there's a full roster of 16 playable characters, 9 full sets of armor that you can get for each character, 8 full-on arenas that you can choose from. So, it feels like a full-featured game now, minus a couple fairly notable still exceptions, unfortunately. And the game is still a ton of fun with the new characters and everything that they've added. I went back and I still had so much fun with it. I really, really enjoyed my time with it, even though at the time, I was just messing around with the new content, seeing what it played like. I just went in and was playing. I played a couple tournaments against the CPU. I didn't get online or try anything online. But I still had so much fun. And I want to love and recommend this game so much more. But it's still very notably held back by its multiplayer options, unfortunately. And, I look at all the new things they've added, and I'm going to go back to it. I'm going to enjoy it, but it's still a game that I wish that that it gave us a reason to still be playing.
Yeah. I've sort of just accepted my lot with it. I'm just, it just wasn't for me. There are a lot of people that I know that really loved it. People who played it like hyper competitively and stuff who love that game. So I don't want to take anything away from those people, but it just didn't click with me. It just wasn't my thing. Sam actually said something on a recent episode of Retro Logic, because Dan had said something to that effect, like how much he disliked the game, and Sam said, like, you don't actually, you just miss being the age you were when the Wii and GameCube versions came out. And I was like, oh, the truth hurts, man. Like, he's probably right. That probably does have something to do with it. So
yeah, fair enough. I can see that. But continuing to play Jitsu Squad. I haven't beaten it yet. I'm kind of taking it one stage a day. I'm not, it's a little bit too hype for me to absorb in just a single sitting. It's still a ton of fun. I'm still really enjoying it. Still haven't beat Jitsu Squad yet. However, the last thing that I'm going to talk about is a game that you've already mentioned that you've played this past week, Seth, but a game that both you and I, let's just say we both had experiences with this past week. Fairly strong experiences, not necessarily positive experiences, but we both, Seth and I, have had some pretty memorable experiences with Tunic.
Yeah, man. I played a lot of Tunic this week. I effectively 100%ed it. So, yeah, Tunic is the kind of game that, like, I really, again, it's gonna really come down to like what we have time for, but like I really do want to have like a dedicated Tunic discussion. If it's an indie showcase, like whatever we wind up doing, like Tunic is such an interesting game. Like after you're done with it, I really do want to just talk about it on the show.
Yeah.
So,
and there's a reason that he says when I'm done with it, because I wound up having personally, the game is very famously obtuse. It doesn't hold your hand, but it's arguably a little too obtuse in a few regards.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. To the point where there are very important cornerstone elements to the mechanics in that game that are incredibly hard, that are incredibly easy to just completely miss. And then you get into the boss fights and you're like, what is going on? There's no reason it should be this challenging. And then after a couple hours, I discovered something and then immediately finally beat the boss after a couple hours, after I had gone through the whole one more go portion, after I had gone through the whole, bleep this bleeping bleep uh, part of my psyche, to basically just to the end where I was despondent and just beyond caring about anything. So it was such a powerfully negative experience for me that what I decided to do was actually just stop. I had beaten the boss. I was the second boss. It was the siege engine. I had
Mhm.
beat the boss, but I just deleted my save file. I said, if I were going to continue playing this game, I know that I would continue playing it as that despondent, checking the box. I could care less about what I'm doing right now version of Eric, and I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to experience that, and I didn't want that mindset to to pepper over what otherwise could be really objectively good parts about the game. So after that experience, knowing what I know now, I deleted my save file. I'm going through Neon White, going through Jitsu Squad. Seth and I are playing. Hopefully, It Takes Two as you're listening to us right now. And then I'm going to go back to Tunic next week and 100% it like Seth did. But it was a very, very memorable experience. That game is, of course, punishingly difficult, and there's a lot of stuff I want to say, but you're absolutely right. Once I do beat the game, we are going to have some type, in some way, shape, or form, a full discussion on Tunic, because it is a game that absolutely warrants that, if
There's
nothing else.
so much. There's so much to talk about. There really is. And I tweeted this out, and I think this is the most succinct way I could say it. Like, it demands way too much of the player, just in terms of the obtuseness. It likes the smell of its own farts way too much. Like, it
Ah,
just like it just like it revels in that sort of obtuse, not handholdy nature way too much, to the point, to the absolute detriment of the game. 1000%. There are things in this game that, I am not kidding you, if you managed to let me just talk directly to the camera right now. If you out there manage to 100% Tunic without the use of a guide, you either need to be on a list for the FBI to know where you are, or you should be working for the FBI. Like, the amount of things that you have to just deduce, to know, that you just need to know, that just need to come out of the wisps of the synapses of your mind, are insane. It's like, it is the craziest thing I have ever seen, maybe ever, in my career playing video games. Like, it's wild. And so, yes, what I ended up doing after I finished the game is, and there were a couple of things that did come naturalistically, and I texted you this because last night was kind of my big stint with it, coming into the final stretch of the game.
yep.
And I had this like moment of clarity and realization where something just kind of clicked for me when I was playing last night, that melted my brain. Like, this game does a couple of things throughout its runtime that just recontextualize the entire game and the world, and it's genuinely some of the coolest moments I've ever had in a video game. The game is impossibly cool, and I do want everybody to play it. But the combat is way too mechanically loose to justify what it asks of you. It's way too like obtuse, So what I recommend everybody do out there, if you get frustrated with this game, please play with the accessibility options. Turn them on. Don't let your gamer pride get in the way of enjoyment, because I've struggled with that my whole life too. I get it.
Yeah.
Just turn on, if you're to the point where, like, cuz I had a moment like you did too, where I was like, dude, I'm ready to turn this off, forget
And
this
never,
game,
yeah.
and never
Yeah.
touch it again. And I was like, I can't let that be the wall between what is, again, some of the coolest moments I've experienced in a long, long time.
Yeah. Which is
So
exactly why I did it.
just turn on the accessibility, just even if it's just for a fight, even if it's just for a moment, just turn it on, swallow the gamer pride, and just push through. I recommend that to everybody out there, because it really is ridiculous, some of the stuff. This game is just like some tightening away from being an
Yeah.
all-timer. It would be my number
Yeah.
3 game of the year, legit. So,
And this is one of the reasons that we try not to talk too in depth about games that we haven't seen credits on yet, because both Seth and I were naively saying last week, oh, this is definitely a game you should play through on your first playthrough without any of the accessibility options,
We'll
with the
try it.
difficulty. And yeah.
Yeah, get his, because look, your mileage may vary. Maybe you love the combat. Maybe you think it's super tight or whatever. I don't. I think the combat's
No.
very loose, and if you do anything more than like 1v1, you're in real trouble. Just I'm
Yeah,
not even.
the combat is designed for 1v1, and then they throw
Yeah,
15 things at you.
it's like there's one area in the game in particular that is laughable. Like, it's ridiculous what they ask of the player to go through there. And that's when I said, nope, I'm turning on this no fail mode, forget the gamer pride. And I got through that section, I turned the no fail mode back off, and I played the rest of the game normally, and that was fine. But if you get to that place with Tunic, just do it. And like, when it comes to 100%ing it, again, just do it. And yeah, pull up the guide to do the 100%. It's gonna be fine. You know what I mean? It's gonna be fine. You're not gonna figure it out by yourself. You're a psycho if you figure it out by yourself. So, anyway, I do think it warrants further discussion. I'll be fascinated to know how you end up coming away from it, and whatever form that takes. I do want to talk more about this game.
Yeah, I do too. You know what? Despite that overwhelmingly negative situation, that overwhelmingly negative experience that I went through, the game is still, there is something about the game. I'm still really excited to restart it next week. So we'll see what happens once I beat it. And again, I don't know. We'll see if we're talking about it in a couple weeks for the Golden Aces. We shall see. Regardless, we're going to find a way to talk about that game on the show in the future.
Yeah. Adam says challenge accepted here in the YouTube live chat. Adam, dude,
go ahead, Adam.
Go right ahead. But I'm telling you, don't let the gamer pride get in the way. Everybody, I'm people. I'm there. I've been there. Just get over it, and we're playing games to have fun. And the argument that I told myself for many, many years was, well, this wasn't the way the developer intended. No, the developer intended you to play that's why the option is in there. Is because if the developer probably wants you to just experience their game. So, put some of that gamer pride maybe in the back corner of your mind a little bit for just a second, and get through the part that's like breaking your heart and making you want to turn the game off. All right.
I know Game Champ listens to us, and
yeah,
they may be thinking right now, ooh, maybe I could go through like base stats, no potions. Don't do
just
it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself.
I'm here to tell you, just don't do it. All right.
And I'll be here to tell you next week to do that.
Yeah. Oh man. So real quick, I'll rattle through mine. I've actually been playing quite a lot this week.
Yeah, crunch time, baby.
It's crunch time, dude. So we're doing an indie showcase this week on the show on Wavetail. You and I both played through that. We both finished it actually we got like quite early access to it. So huge thanks to Thunderful for
thank you
for providing us access to that. And we're going to be talking about it later in the show. We also got early access to a couple of other games, which is awesome. That's the thing, is like the games haven't stopped coming out.
No.
People have already been doing their game of the year discussions. It's like, guys, a game like Aka just came out this past week, which I played. There's a video up on the YouTube channel. So I definitely recommend checking that out. Aka is a very special little game. Don't sleep on it. Really cool.
As someone who has 4 tattoos, get the tattoo, Seth.
Yeah, I might. Aka opens with really powerful words, and essentially the setup of Aka is you're playing as the titular Aka, this red panda who was a warrior. He was a warrior.
Not the one who does our soundtrack.
Yeah,
not the one who does our theme.
Not that red panda, different red panda. An actual red
panda.
He's like an old warrior's got scars. His ear has like pieces taken out of it and stuff. And the game actually opens on a war-torn battlefield, and he finds a note from one of his old war buddies that says, hey, come to this island, find your inner peace, recenter yourself, get away from all of this war and death, And he builds a boat, and he makes sail for this place called Pine Island to be with his war buddy. And as Aka is taking off, he vows, he's like, this katana, this samurai sword, is not going to cut limbs anymore. It's only going to cut, the crops that he's tilling. He's like, this isn't going to be used for death anymore. And it opens with the words, forget to destroy, learn to create. And I thought that was such a powerful statement. Like those words were so beautiful. It hit me like a freight train. Forget to destroy, learn to create. I was like, dude, I legitimately would get that tattooed on my body. What an amazing mantra that is. It's a special game. I will say, and again, if I hadn't already mentioned this, big thanks to the publisher for providing us access to that as well. We did get a
Yep.
free code for that, and again, the YouTube video is up on the channel, and we really appreciate that because it's a special game that I feel like a lot of people are going to sleep on. It's essentially a life sim, where you're on this island. You can grow crops, you can do the typical like life management stuff, but there's also a lot of characters on the island to do like quests for and things like that. And it's all about just sort of like, yeah, finding your inner peace and getting away from. But like, what's nice is the characters of the game don't let you get away with your past either. You know, like it kind of taps into that like God of War 2018 thing a little bit, where it's like this is a character who did bad things in their past, and like the game doesn't let them get away with that. So I really like the game a lot. It does need a patch, I will say. The game could use a patch because there's a little bit of like jankiness with the controls. I was talking to my friend Locklith, co-host on the Nintendo Drive, Locklith. She's playing it as well. She got early access as well, and we were both kind of sharing back and forth our experiences while we were playing it pre-release. And she actually had like not only just the jankiness with the controls that I was experiencing, but also like hard crashes. I haven't had hard crashes or anything,
Ooh.
but the game does need like an optimization patch or something like that. But it's a special game. Once it's like patched up and cleaned up a little bit, it really is going to be one worth looking at for sure.
Yeah. I want to play it. Again, we got early access to it. Just with all the crunch and everything, we're having to be very particular about the
Yeah.
games that we are playing. And these, like, so much so that we even got access to a very high profile game from a very high profile studio that I am personally super excited to maybe one day possibly have the chance to play. You made a video on it, Seth, and I just am jealous that you actually got to play it. We have it. I want to play it. What did you think of Crisis Core?
Yeah, big thanks to Square Enix for providing us access to Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Reunion. Actually, I think the proper title is Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion. This is like the remake, reimagining, yeah, whatever, Turbo HD remix. Big thanks to Square Enix for letting us check this out. That video is also up on the YouTube channel. A lot of YouTube content for me this week. And yeah, so Crisis Core is it's a remake of a PSP game, and I think that's going to turn some people off, but for me it's weirdly nostalgic. Like when you're going into
I've seen that a lot. I've seen that opinion a lot, that it really hits that old PSP GBA, like that mid 2000s to late 2000s handheld feel.
Yeah, I mean, because from what I understand, and I was wondering coming into this game, and I'm actually still not 100% sure, but I was wondering if this was going to go like kind of fall in line with the Final Fantasy VII remake sort of story, because for those who don't know, and again, I'm not going to spoil anything FF7 remake, but FF7 remake is not a one-to-one remake of Final Fantasy VII whatsoever.
No.
It takes some very serious deviations from the story, and I was curious how Reunion was going to play into it. It seems like it just no seriously is a remake of the PSP game. But like with that being said, they've prettied up the graphics. It runs actually really well on Switch. Like rock solid, a couple little frame dips, but like nothing serious, very momentary. It's like very solid throughout. And then visually, yeah, like it looks great. And actually, as I'm playing it, I'm like, to me, this doesn't look like way worse than Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like it looks pretty good. It's kind of somewhere between. Like it's not quite to that level, but it's pretty, they did a good job. But yeah, like the way that PSP games were just sort of like, you're going through like corridors, all of your battles are basically in like rote little arenas, like kind of very, standard combat encounters. It feels like a game that was made in 2007 for a handheld console, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for me, that's actually a benefit. For me, it kind of plays into like a arcadey feel, like a very pick up and play sort of feel. I love playing it on the OLED. Like I love it's like the
Yeah, I
perfect
bet.
handheld
I
game.
bet. Yeah.
So good for that because you can just go in and do like a mission or two and it's very pick up and play because it was designed that way. But this is not, if you're looking for like a meaty traditional like JRPG experience like you would expect from Final Fantasy, that's not what this is. Like it's an action game. You know, from 2007. Like this is, you know, this is kind of what you're getting into. But for me, it like totally hits the spot. Like I've just
Nice.
it's mwah, it's exactly what I wanted it to be.
Nice. Let's get a remake of Dirge of Cerberus now.
That wouldn't shock me, honestly. If this does well, wouldn't shock me. So
Well, when it comes to re-release games from a Square Enix, there was something else that happened this past week that I am very excited about that I hope bears fruit later on down the line for us. We shall see.
oh, the ESRB thing,
Oh
yeah,
god.
yeah.
Oh man.
February Direct's creeping up, folks.
Mm.
It's creeping up.
If they put those all on one cart, oh my. That's
We'll
everything
see.
I ever wanted all in one place. Oh.
We'll see. We will
Getting a
see.
little
So
heart palpitations there.
yeah, for those who don't know what we're talking about, the ESRB rated the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters, the 1 through 6 Pixel remasters for Nintendo Switch this past week. So that means like they are coming. It's just a matter of when.
Mm-hmm.
So very, very cool. But Eric, we got some news to talk about. A lot of release dates this week.
We do. We've certainly been talking a lot about games already in this episode. So, I mean, let's just keep doing that. Let's talk about it.
Hey, listen!
Well, you know, some stuff happened this week with games, but the first thing we really want to touch on is an anime because after over 25 years, we're coming to the end of an era. In an announcement that I frankly didn't ever think was going to come. I've
Me either.
never prepared myself mentally for this. I just didn't see this ever happening. But yes, Ash and Pikachu are coming to the end of their journey together in the Pokemon anime after Ash very famously won the world championship in the previous Pokemon animated series in the Galar region from Leon. They are releasing 11 special episodes, like a final little mini series farewell to Satoshi and Pikachu before picking up with 2 brand new protagonists for the new Paldea region of the anime. And like 25, like a full 2.5 decades, a quarter century of following these 2 characters across hundreds of episodes. Again, and not just TV episodes, like how many movies? Literally dozens.
Yeah.
Literally dozens of movies. And like, oh my God, like I genuinely didn't think this day would ever come, but here we are actually coming to the end of the journey for Ash and Pikachu. My mind's just kind of blown. And I genuinely actually started to get like super emotional.
Oh yeah.
When it came to one little, unfortunately kind of treated as a throwaway scene.
Yeah. So, well, okay. So first of all, we have a couple comments here from the YouTube live chat that tap into this. Adam says, I don't even care about Pokemon, and that announcement got me getting emotional. And then Sam makes the point, honestly, Pokemon should have been rotating protagonists this whole time, the way the Pokemon special manga does. And that is true. The manga has been rotating protagonists this entire time, and apparently, like, they've been really good. People who read the manga really like the new protagonist. So maybe, you know, I know a lot of people were kind of like, it's not going to be the same without Ash, you know, but regardless of any of that, we got this trailer announcing that yes, Ash and Pikachu's journey is coming to an end after all this time. We're getting 11 final special episodes. These start airing on January 13th in Japan. And then after that, in April, the brand new series is going to kick off with new protagonists in the Paldea region. And yes, we saw a couple of shots because they're treating this 11 episode kind of special series to wrap up Ash and Pikachu's story as just a catch-all, just a celebration of this entire thing. And the moment you're talking about,
a catch-em-all, if you will.
a catch-em-all, if you will, of this moment that they showed with, we got flashes of Brock and Misty, of course, and like all this stuff that you expect to see in this finale. But yeah, when they brought Butterfree out,
Butterfree,
I was like, oh
my God.
Oh, it's like that. They're going for the jugular. It's going to be like that, huh? Yeah.
It is really hard to understate how emotional that was for so many of us who began at the ground level when it came to the Pokemon anime.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that unlocked a core memory in me that immediately when I saw that, like just instant emotion, just like in Ratatouille at the end when that evil food critic just remembers back to his childhood.
Right. Yeah.
Like, that was me. That was absolutely
Big
me.
time.
Just seeing Butterfree, the reunion with Ash, and what I presume is a reunion and not just a memory.
Yeah, I assume so. It looks like a reunion.
But man, oh my God, that hit so hard for me. I haven't admittedly watched many of the episodes in a while, but I'll definitely watch these. I will definitely check out these 11. And it's just so weird because after, like, for so many people who have been following the anime or who were ever invested in the animated show for whatever reason, this is a big deal because you were invested at least at some point in these characters and in their journey. And to know that that's coming to an end, I mean, it's important for a lot of people. Again, even though the Indigo League was definitely my big obsession.
Of course.
And I did admittedly progressively fall off. I watched the Orange Islands and when they got into Johto and
Pokemon
even
Johto.
Hoenn and
yeah,
Pokemon Johto.
Yep.
I still got the original soundtrack somewhere from KB Toys that still has the 1-year warranty sticker on it. I could still bring it back.
That's still good. Yeah, go in there,
still bring it
warranty.
Back. I still remember what the warranty sticker says. The warranty sticker says August 16th, 1999. So anytime before August 16th, 1999, I could take that soundtrack back and exchange it.
That's right. To be a master.
Yeah, to be okay. I promise I'm gonna stop singing. But yeah, it's a big deal. If if the Pokemon anime isn't your thing, cool. But for a lot of people, this is like Ash and Pikachu defined this IP for so many people. It's the most profitable IP in the history of humanity. And I mean, the end of an era really isn't underselling this announcement.
No, not at all. They're I mean, Ash and Pikachu are maybe, with the exception of maybe like, I don't know, Goku or something like that. Like, there are a few characters in anime that are more iconic. Yeah, than Ash and Pikachu. So I mean, yeah, this is a huge deal, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how this all wraps up. I'm ready for the tears. It was really nice to see the two sort of the actresses who have played Ash over the years, Veronica Taylor, the original voice of Ash, and the kind of new, I say new, but I think she's been voicing Ash for like 15 plus years or something like that, Sarah Natacheni. They both
that just shows you how far back we go.
Yeah, they both released statements kind of saying, how emotional this journey has been, how they never thought that Ash's journey would come to an end either. So yeah, this is it's really cool, man. Really cool. Can't wait to cry. Looking forward to it.
I don't know. We will see how we'll see how Pokemon handles the journey forward with these new protagonists, if they have plans to to have, another 2-decade plus journey with these new characters, or if maybe they'll start to go the manga route
I
and
think
just
so.
do season to season to season.
Yeah, I think that's probably what they'll do. There's no reason to kind of put themselves into that same situation. But looking forward to it. Either way it goes. Again, January 13th in Japan is when those episodes begin to air, and then April in Japan is when the new season starts to air. I don't know what the turnaround is going to be like for us Americans getting the dubbed version, but either way, I can't wait to see how it all shakes out. Eric, release dates. A lot
So
of
many
release dates.
Release dates the week.
Basically, yeah. I do want to
Yeah.
shout out real quick because we forgot to mention this in what we've been up to. We were kind of looking for a release date because GoldenEye is supposed to drop before the end of the year, I think. And I was kind of like, hey, seems like this would be a good week to announce it. On Thursday, we did get an NSO drop. So, I mean, the release dates were then, but I guess those were still release dates, just not the release date we were looking for. But we did get some NSO games to the Sega Genesis app, and I know you've put a little bit of time into them.
Yes, I did play all 4 of the brand new Sega Genesis games released on NSO. Shadow dropped this past Thursday when even I, the Jedi Nostradamus that I consider myself when it comes to these types of announcements, I was wrong about this. I was even telling you, I was like, Seth, I feel it in the Force. I feel it in the Force. It's coming. But sure enough, it wasn't the announcement. It's got to be next week, basically. But it wasn't the announcement or release of GoldenEye. It was instead the release of 4 brand new games, like we said, on the Sega Genesis NSO app in the form of Golden Axe 2, Alien Storm, Columns, and what was the other one?
Virtua Fighter.
Virtua Fighter 2.
Yeah.
Of course I forgot the fighting game.
Of course. You don't like fighting games. Of course.
Exactly why. Virtua Fighter 2 is actually a really interesting case study when it comes to fighting games, because in the 16-bit era, video game consoles were not pushing out arcade perfect ports, and Virtua Fighter is an incredibly good example of that. Virtua Fighter 2 on console versus Virtua Fighter 2 in arcade are basically 2 completely different games. It's interesting. Virtua Fighter 2 Genesis is not a good game necessarily, but it is really interesting. We do have it. I have a brand new free fighting game that I can play on my Sega Genesis NSO. But I did play through the arcade mode of that. Got flip kicked by Sarah about 1 billion times. But I mean, it's still an interesting experience. It's again good for preservation. I am glad that it's there. I would really like if Sega released, if they did a straight up arcade release. We've talked about other consoles they need to release for, like the Dreamcast, the Master System, Sega Saturn and stuff. But admittedly, even us included, I don't hear anybody talking about arcade releases. That's what Sega needs to do, is some straight up arcade, like the Virtua Fighters, the Outruns, and put together an authentic arcade collection of old Sega games. But in addition to Virtua Fighter 2, we also got Columns. If you've never played Columns, it's kind of a precursor to Bejeweled a little bit. It's like Bejeweled meets Mean Bean Machine.
Okay.
You have little blocks of 3 little eye-shaped formations of 3 separate jewels, and you can change the order of the jewels up until, very Tetris-like, they get down to the bottom of the screen. And I think there's 6 or 7 different color and different shaped jewels, but it's very similar to Tetris or Puyo Puyo. Once you get 3 of the same color jewel in a row, either vertically, horizontally, or diagonally, then those jewels will disappear and give you points, and you can combo. It's just a little bit different than a lot of the other puzzle games of that ilk you've played. Games like Dr. Mario and Tetris, and even games like I was about to say Flax, but no,
Flax.
There's always
Yeah.
There's always time for it, Seth.
It is the 90s, and there's time for Clax.
There is time for Clax. So it's very similar to a lot of those old 90s puzzle games, just a little tweak here and there. But Columns is still an interesting slight variation on that same old, very tried and true puzzle formula. So if you want to check that out, that's also there. We also got a couple beat 'em ups, like I said, Alien Storm and Golden Axe 2. The Golden Axe series at this point has just kind of reached that gaming level of nostalgic wonder that it, even though the games themselves, even though much better beat 'em ups have come out in recent years, it's still fun to go back through. It's still fun to get a couple friends together and go back through as the Amazon, as the warrior, as the dwarf, and go kill was it the Black Death, the bad guy's army, and just classic medieval style beat 'em up. So you can ride. That's another thing. They haven't, they need to make another Golden Axe so you can have beast riding again.
Yeah, do they? Do they need to make another Golden Axe?
Yeah, Golden Axe Beast Rider really wasn't that good. But you know what? Again, I'm super nostalgic, so I enjoyed it. And then Alien Storm. Alien Storm I actually really liked because it's a beat 'em up, but after going through a couple little beat 'em up screens, they throw you into like a first person arcade shooter, like the Aerosmith Revolution arcade game, or you'll do like this little run and gun section. So a little bit of beat 'em up, a little bit of arcade running, shooting, first person shooter action. So it keeps a really, really good pace. Not necessarily very mechanically deep, but you get to go around and beat up aliens and be about as 90s as you can possibly imagine.
Nice. So kind of it sounds like a little bit of a mid drop, but it is 4 games that are now preserved on NSO expansion packs. So if you have that, definitely check them out. So those did just come out this past Thursday. But Eric, no, we do have many release dates. And I know it's a little bit weird to like get hung up on release dates, but we got so many release dates this week. We kind of do just have to stop and just acknowledge them because it really is kind of absurd. The first one we have here is we've got I guess an opening date / release date for
the release date for when they release the gates.
Yeah, that's right. For Super Nintendo World in Hollywood, that is opening Friday, February 17th, 2023.
Yes.
So look forward to that in Hollywood, Universal Studios Hollywood. That's happening very soon.
Finally, stateside, our Super Nintendo World is opening. And Seth, officially, we've got to start getting that road trip planned.
Yeah, I got to wait on that Florida one, man. Got to do the Florida one. I don't want to go to the Hollywood one. Y'all can keep that. But look, I'm just happy.
Well, what if they open up the Donkey Kong one and the Hollywood one first?
They might. I don't know. For the nice thing about that is if I want to get my hands on some of the merch early, I can do that now a lot more affordably than importing from Japan. So that is nice at least. But I'm waiting on the Orlando version, man. So
well, if you're anywhere
in your
close,
backyard, so
exactly, yeah. So, but if you're anywhere close to the Hollywood or even California area, next year, right after Valentine's Day, February 17th,
2 months away.
2 months away. So go ahead and check it out. We'll be totes jealous of you. Take tons of pictures and share them all with us.
Let me know. If maybe you want to get some of your favorite Nintendo co-hosts a souvenir while you're there, let us know. We can arrange that. Okay, next release date we have, so that's February 17th, 2023. Next one we have here is even sooner than that. We've got some new amiibo from the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate line coming on January 13th. Kazuya and Sephiroth are coming January 13th.
Kazuya and Sephiroth, we are coming to the end. We are ever so close to the end of these Smash Brothers amiibo releases. I actually got Seth and Alex. I got Steve and Alex behind
I'm back
me.
There too.
We've got, you are actually here in my heart.
Aww.
But we got Pyra and Mithra also announced.
Yep.
Coming a little bit later on the next year, and man, we're almost there. But those amiibos, they just continue to get more impressive. That Sephiroth amiibo specifically looks stunning.
Yeah.
It looks so good. It's got Sephiroth's one wing. That's a completely different franchise, the One Ring.
Yeah.
completely different franchise. It has Sephiroth's one wing wrapped around him and what I can
Looks great.
only describe as badass.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait to get my hands on those. They're actually already up for pre-order at many places, so it seems like those are going to be very plentiful. Cheesy C here in the YouTube live chat says Sora early 2024. Then I mean it's weird because Pyra and
Probably.
Mithra. Couple of things. So Pyra and Mithra, we did get confirmed they're going to be two separate amiibo, which is great. It's not going to be like some kind of dual amiibo thing. They're going to be two separate amiibo, so that's great. And those are just coming vaguely sometime in 2023. Now, does that mean late 2023? Who knows? Sora is kind of the last one that we still need to hear about, but I think what it is I think they're going to make a really big deal out of it. I think that's kind of what they're waiting on. They're going to make that kind of the marquee. I mean, it's the end of the Smash Ultimate line, you know.
And more than likely, well, I don't say more than likely, but like how many more games do you think they're going to ultimately release amiibo for post 2024?
I honestly,
we're still getting stuff for like Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. We still got, of course, the Splatoon 3 amiibo. But if we're being honest with ourselves, how many more games do you think Nintendo's ultimately going to release amiibo for once these are out?
I wouldn't be shocked if Sora's early 2024, if Sora's late 2023. I don't know, but I wouldn't be shocked if Nintendo said this is the final amiibo.
Exactly.
If they said like this is it, we're done.
Yeah,
we're
closing the factory down.
Right.
This is the final one. Big blowout. We're going to make 1 million of them. This is your only chance to get it. No more second prints. Good night. Thank you for everybody who supported the amiibos.
Yeah, because if I'm not, I think amiibo began in 2014. So if Sora does come out in 2024,
the first releases were the Smash Brothers Wii. Or Smash Brothers Wii U.
Right. It was like November 21st, 2014, I think. Anyway, so it'll be roughly like 2024 will be the 10th year of amiibo. So it would make sense. Like it would be kind of poetic, and it would be nice because we'll have obviously many. I'm sure we're gonna get Tears of the Kingdom amiibo. Those Zelda amiibo are super popular. You know, whatever. I'm sure we're gonna get some more between now and then. But I do sort of anticipate Nintendo saying like, yeah, it's like this is the final one. It's done. We're ending it here, and I would honestly be kind of good with that. As somebody who has collected all of these stupid things, I would be it'd be nice to let the sun set on a grateful universe and just kind of move on, you know.
All right, Thanos.
But I'm looking forward to it.
There's a couple that I really hope to be able to get someday, but yes, I would very much like for Nintendo to bookend that. I think Sora would be the perfect one to end the amiibo line on.
Yep. I know there's a lot of people who are wondering if it's even gonna. It has to happen. Like they're gonna make it work. Whatever they got to do to make it work, it's gonna happen.
But I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, right now if I hoard all of the Pyra and Mithra amiibos for myself, because that might happen. So I'm sorry.
I'm gonna move on to this next story before you say something you regret. Okay. The Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection. We got a new video about that, kind of a new showcase that Capcom was talking about earlier on in the week, and in that we got a release date, April 14th, and chiefly something that made us both very, very happy.
Oh, just say it slow, Seth. Say it slow.
It is getting a physical edition, of course, but the entire Legacy Collection will be blessedly complete on cart.
Say it again.
Thank you, Capcom, for doing this. It's so frustrating whenever we get these things and there's a download code in the box. It needs like a big day one download or whatever. Half of it's on the cart and half of it's not. The whole thing is complete on cart.
I specifically didn't buy the Mega Man and the Mega Man X Legacy collections because of that.
Yeah.
I wanted to. I really did. But because of their treatment of those, I just couldn't. I really didn't like the way they did that. So to have all of these games, this whole collection together, complete on a single cart, yes, please and thank you, Capcom. Very happy that you finally learned your lesson. I am quite enamored with my Mega Man Zero ZX collection. Very happy to be picking up the Battle Network collection. looking forward, honestly, to the Star Force collection next.
Yeah, I guess that's next in line after this, right? I'm looking forward to it, man. I've never played the
Yep.
Battle Network games. They detailed some of the online functionality as well, which is going to be
Yep.
really cool because those games
Yep.
had a lot of link cable functionality and stuff back on the GBA and
Yeah.
whatnot. And I know Sam is looking forward to that. He loves the Battle Network games. He's been streaming them on the Retro Logic Twitch channel. And
Nice.
yeah, man, I can't wait. Can't wait to finally play these. Looking forward to it.
Going to be so good. Give us more GBA games. Give us more DS games.
Yep, I agree. And then we've got a release, yet another release date for Hogwarts Legacy, the new Harry Potter game coming up. It's coming on like in February for like other consoles, but we finally have, they sort of said the Switch version is going to come later. It's going to be a native Switch port. It's not going to be a cloud version. We're taking our time with it, but finally we know it's coming July 25th, 2023. And I've got a quote here from the team at, I believe it's Avalanche and like Portkey Studios. I think that's right. They say, quote, "The team is looking forward to bringing you the game and we want to deliver the best possible game experience across all platforms," end quote. So, I mean, they're taking like an extra several months just on the Switch version. So that gives me hope. Gives me hope for a good port.
Well, I mean, they know what they have. This game could be a golden goose for them for a very, very long time. They know that if they take the extra couple of months, they make it right instead of just trying to rush out an unfinished port and forget about it on another console that already has over 110 million units in the wild. If they just try to rush out an inferior port for something that they could potentially make even more money on than the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X combined, then it'll hopefully pay dividends for them in the future. And I do hope, because, J.K. Rowling stupidness aside, there's still a massive, massive fan base of the Wizarding world. And I want, I know you're a big part of that, Seth, and I want you guys to have the game like that this should be, and that this is telling people that it is, because it looks so cool.
Yeah, they did like a 35-minute. They've been really good about every couple months or so we get a nice long look at the game of gameplay and kind of seeing how it's shaping up. I think the game looks great. I'm actually really looking forward to this. Specifically waiting on the Switch version, not only because the PS5 and whatever versions come out in like February, so there'll be a nice long time to hear like kind of the full scope of the game's discourse. Is it good? Is it not good? But when the Switch version of the game comes out, that's when I'm going to pick it up, because look, we're Nintendo content creators. I want to be able to let you guys know how the Switch version of the game stacks up. So you can look forward to Switch coverage of Hogwarts Legacy when it does come out July 25th. And I hope the game is as good as it looks.
Well, I know you saw the big headline this week about the fact that you can, use the killing curse and all that stuff. So, I mean, of course you're going to be able to use the killing curse in the Hogwarts game. Of course they were going to include that.
Yeah.
Maybe only for Slytherin students. I don't know. We'll see. But I mean, of course they were going to include that.
Don't enforce those stereotypes that Slytherin means evil. Don't enforce those stereotypes. Slytherin does not mean evil. Slytherin just means you're cunning and you're driven and you're determined. And yes, a lot of evil wizards are Slytherin, but they're evil wizards in every house, my friend.
There are, but Slytherin are evil.
Don't be that guy. So okay, last one here, and I guess this is also kind of technically a release date. We got info on the new Splatfest. The next Splatfest is happening in the first weekend of January 6th through 8th, and the theme is interesting. It is, what's your favorite taste sensation? Spicy versus sweet versus sour.
So let's just forego Halloween.
Yep.
Let's forego Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Let's forego the holidays.
Yep.
Let's wait until the new year and have one that's sweet versus sour. Like, why? What? Like,
it's a weird one, right?
Okay. It's the Pokemon one made a ton of sense. but the first one I thought was kind of weird. This one I think is kind of weird. I'm a little trepidatious about the future of Splatfest and Splatoon 3, Seth. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's just fun. I don't really, to be honest, I don't really
Yeah,
care what the theme is. It's just fun, just a reason to jump
that's
into Splatoon. You
that's
know?
fair.
Yeah. It's and
That's fair.
really for me, like I'm to the point with Splatoon where really I just jump in. We got a couple Team Spicy call outs here in the chat from Cheesy and Adam are both Team Spicy. I think I might be Team
Oh,
Spicy too.
honestly, yeah, I think I might take Team Spicy.
Yeah.
One of the things I do like about Splatfest is because so many of them are so dumb, a lot of people get wrapped up in just the stupidity of passionately defending something that you would otherwise not care to
Something as dude, the
cares
first
about.
one was rock, paper, scissors. Like nobody actually cares, but people will fight to
And
the
people are
death.
like, I will
No.
die on
Yeah.
this hill.
Yeah, it's just so dumb, and that is something that I kind of low key appreciate about these
Yeah.
stupid like Team Gear,
People
grub,
just-
and
yeah.
fun. Like,
Yeah.
you know, even for these dumb esoteric Splatfests, people will fight tooth and nail for it. So
They'll pick a team and they will die on
Yep.
that hill for something they, again, outside of the context of Splatfest, would care nothing about.
yeah,
So I do appreciate that. And honestly, that could be something that they're leaning into. It's like, let's see what the stupidest thing we can come up with that people will fight to the death over.
yeah. But for me, it's fun. It's fun to just have like a weekend where I can pop in, play Splatoon. If it's Big Run, you and I and actually
Yeah,
shout
we-
outs to Sam. We played some Big Run this
We
past
did play
weekend.
some big crime. That was not easy.
No, it wasn't. Had fun with it though, and I like
We
that
did, yeah.
have. Yeah, I like that we have these little touchstones, like that we can do a big run between a Splatfest, have a Splatfest to look forward to, have a weekend of just Splatoon, and I like that I can, the new season just started. It's nice to have like reasons to jump into it. It's not my daily driver. It's not something I'm playing every day. But like once a month, play it for a weekend. Great. I'm all about it, So I'm down for this. So that is happening again the 6th through the 8th. Spicy, sweet, or sour. Let us know what team you're going to be on. Sounds like Eric and I are team spicy.
Yeah, I think I am.
I think I got to go spicy because I'm not like, I like sweets, and there are some sweets that I love, like birthday cake and stuff. I love that kind of stuff. But like
Yeah.
I don't go out of my way for sweets enough to be like team sweet. And then say I like sour candy, but I'm not team sour, I would rather go spicy, ultimately. I like a spicy curry,
Well, the funny thing was, before I moved down to your neck of the woods, before I got stationed in Louisiana, I was never really a spicy food kind of guy. But if you're going to live in Louisiana, you're either going to become a spicy food kind of guy,
Yeah.
or you're just not going to eat.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. We do eat a lot of spicy food here.
Yeah. So I actually grew to love, like truly love, not just spicy, but just Cajun food in general. I adore Cajun food. Matter of fact, I had Cajun just last weekend.
Nice.
And so whenever I have the opportunity, I do actually try to seek out, something with just a little bit more tang, just a little bit more kick to it. So
spiciness.
yeah, I'm team spicy now.
Should have had
Definitely,
like a
definitely not team sour.
yeah. Should have had a team umami. I would have been team umami all day long. All right. Well, that's been our release dates, things that are coming in the future. But we had things that came out this week, kind of a stacked release week. Again, the games haven't stopped. So, and we've already talked about actually many of these, and we just want to thank again all of the publishers who have worked with us and given us access to a lot of the games that have come out this past week. But what do you say we hit some of these notable releases?
I'm down. I mean, we're going to be talking about, we've already talked about a few of them. We will be talking about another one here shortly.
Yep.
But Wavetail came out this week. Again, thank you very much to Thunderfold for providing us a very early copy of that. Both Seth and I have rolled credits on that. And spoilers, you're going to be hearing much more about that game very shortly. Previously a Stadia exclusive, but we hope you'll stick around if you're listening to the podcast and check out our indie showcase this week. But after Wavetail, we had Little Gator Game come out from Playtonic.
Yes.
Little Gator Game is so adorable with
Finally
the little
came out.
ragdoll gator. He's so cute. I want to play it, Seth.
Yeah, me too. I own it. I bought it. It's on my Switch. Haven't had a chance to boot it up yet. Just been busy. I'm probably going to stream it. It's probably not going to be until next week. We'll see. If I find time, I'm going to try to stream it soon because I do want to get that in. I want to fit that in the midst of everything else because it
In
looks
the midst
super
of
cute.
everything else.
Yeah.
And you've played versions that you've already compared it
Yeah.
to like a short hike and stuff like that. So
It's
and you and
basically it's basically 3D a short hike. Like I
yeah.
loved it. It was
a game that both you and I hold in quite high esteem.
yeah. I played it during Steam Next Fest like a year ago, I want to say, and it was my whatever Steam Next Fest that was. It was my game of show for that Steam Next Fest. Like I loved it. So I'm looking forward to finally playing it.
Nice. A couple other games came out this week that Seth has already talked about. We even created content already. Aka come out. So definitely check out that. Definitely check out Seth's video. Definitely check out our friend Locklith's coverage of Aka as well. In addition to that, Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunionized Turbo Hyper Special Edition EX Plus Alpha.
Also out. Also good.
Also out.
It's a great
I
week,
want to
dude.
play it. Yeah,
Great
it's
week.
another great week. It's another great week. It's
And-
yeah, I mean, yeah.
and-
Well, I mean, we talked about beat 'em ups. We got 2 on the Nintendo Switch NSO Genesis app. But in addition to Alien Storm, in addition to Golden Axe, we got a proper sequel to River City Girls. River City Girls 2 is finally out. We were originally looking for it back this summer, but it wound up getting pushed. Finally came out. Big shout out to Adam Tierney. Another one that I want to play. The latest in the line of the legendary Kunio-kun franchise.
It's on the list.
I mean, it's on the list. I really want to play it. Looks awesome. Even if it's just more River City Girls, even if that's all it is, I'd still be more than happy to play it.
Yep. Big week, man. A lot of stuff came out. The games have not stopped. I know people are like, hey, it's December. The year's already over. The year ain't over, folks. There's still games. Still games coming out.
Everybody's already done their best of 2022, and here
This
we are.
is exactly why we wait. This is exactly why we wait.
Stacked with awesome releases here in December.
Yep.
But we're eating good, Seth. We're eating good.
We're eating good. We may be
Some
stuffed.
of these games are spicy. Some
Yeah,
of
I'm
these
about to
games are
say.
spicy.
We may be stuffed. We may be killed over like No Face and Spirited Away, you know. But but hey, we're eating good.
Absolutely, we are. But let us know what you guys are up to, what you think about everything going on in the world of the big end, about what you are playing this weekend, what you are doing. Are you picking up any of these brand new releases? Speaking of picking up games, there's a huge critically acclaimed sale going on the eShop right now. So definitely check those out. A bunch of incredible games on deep discounts on the eShop right now as part of this end of the year best of 2022 critically acclaimed collection. So definitely check that out. Quick little note there at the end. But whatever you're picking up, whatever you think about what's going on in the world of Nintendo, let us know. Reach out to us on Facebook and Twitter at All In Podcast. If you're watching the YouTube stream, A, thank you, but B, make sure to just move your mouse right over there and yep, right there, and click that subscribe button. Good. Now click the bell. Yep, click the bell, and awesome, you are good to go. And if you haven't done that already, it's super easy. Literally, it takes you less time than this stupid little promo that I'm speaking to do that. So go ahead and follow us on youtube.com/allinpodcast. We've been producing so much content, mostly Seth admittedly has been producing so much content
all Seth on YouTube. All right. Also, don't sell me short, man. Give me my props.
You're right. I only appear in the news segments currently.
That's right.
But definitely check out all the videos, even the couple that have me in there on youtube.com/allinpodcast. But in addition to that, I mean, yes, mostly Seth's on you, but there's still so much content coming out from the All In brand, and some of it's Patreon exclusive.
Yes, patreon.com/allinpodcast. Eric's on one of those Patreon exclusive shows, of course, All In Side Quest, where Eric and I talk about non-Tendo topics. This past week, we broke down the non-Tendo news from the Game Awards 2022. So
as voted on by our patrons.
That's right. That's right. Our patrons get voting power over there on patreon.com/allinpodcast and much, much more. So definitely head on over there. Throw a couple of bones our way this holiday. But if you don't want to throw any bones our way, we do understand. It's the holidays. We get it. You can actually support us completely for free by dropping some words on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, and Audible. And you can leave us a 5-star rating on Spotify. Very, very free, very, very easy, and very, very appreciated. Thank you all.
Yes, super, super appreciated. If you decide to drop some words on whatever podcast service you are listening to, thank you all so much. Another big, massive, legendary shout out to all of our phenomenal patrons. Thank you guys so much. And just for anybody who has shared, retweeted, or even consumed our content over the past 2.5 years, guys, namaste.
Namaste. That's the news, folks. Thank you all for coming out. Cheesy says, do you think Sports Story is coming out next week? I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with Sports Story.
Not coming out. Nope, it doesn't exist. I don't know why you guys think it's a thing. It doesn't exist.
I don't know what's going on with Sports Story, man. No clue. It's supposed to come out in December. Where is it? Where is it? Where's that? Where's GoldenEye?
Dude, Braid was supposed to come out back in January.
Mm-hmm. Well, they delayed Braid indefinitely, at least. They like put a December date on these things we still haven't heard about. So I've got no clue, man. It's weird. But yeah, thanks for coming out, folks. If you would, before you leave, like the stream. Again, this is just a taste, just a little taste of the full podcast that goes live tomorrow. Links are in the video description down there. If you haven't checked out the podcast, do so. Again, we got the top 5 wintry themed Nintendo games. We got an indie showcase on Wavetail, and we've got a retrospective on Wind Waker. So this is but a taste of the podcast. Thank you all for coming out. We love you very much. We will see you next week. Well, actually, we'll see you tomorrow.
Hopefully, we'll see you tomorrow for the first part of It Takes Two featuring Seth and Eric.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to. I don't think we're gonna be able to do the whole thing in one shot, but
probably
we'll play a lot of it tomorrow. So come back tomorrow. We'll see you then. Love you guys. Have a good one. Bye.
See you.